My name is Ryan Polries, and I am the CEO and founder of Money Act. And you can go to my website at money-act.com to learn more about what it is I do, where I merge money and movies to make the topic of money a little bit more fun. So today I'm going to talk about a little history. I've mentioned it on a few videos, what got me interested in money in the first place, and then the lesson behind it, essentially, if we go straight to the end, is that you constantly have to reinvent yourself or stay ahead of the game. All right, so I'm going to go back to 2013, where the company that I was working for, the visual effects company called Rhythm and Hughes Studios, went bankrupt. And within 2 weeks, it had just won the Academy Award for Life of Pi back there. And the interesting thing about that particular company is that it was basically doing $120 million worth of movie work every single year. Huge company, privately owned. And this was after a string of bankruptcies that led up to this moment. So it was kind of this crux of this moment where all of these visual effects companies were going bankrupt around the same time, within a few years. My dad, who was in a stable job, he was an air traffic controller for the government, and he was like 20 days away from retirement age, and the government sold it to Lockheed Martin. Gone. So anybody who was working there that wasn't quite retirement age lost their pension. Now, luckily for my dad, he was able to he worked for the private company and then went 3 years later to briefly to a government job and was able to get his retirement. But imagine all the people who weren't that close, who were like maybe 3 years away instead of 20 days like my dad. So to me, those two major events set in motion this feeling that nothing's safe, that you can't be complacent. And that's why I always have that Life of Pi posters hanging back there to remind myself never to be complacent. Because even a job that you think seems so stable and safe, like an air traffic controller, something changes. It's the government changes things. I mean, look at the government, what they've done to the movie industry. All of these tax subsidies that go overseas shifted the industry to other countries. So you've got government forces, you've got technology forces. Any sort of outside force can take any seemingly stable job. Look at what the pandemic did. All of these stable jobs completely destroyed. But that was really not the pandemic. It was government again, their actions. And so I decided, okay, I'm not as into movies as I once was. I sort of ruined this love by working in it. Not ruined, but not as much enjoyment as I used to. And then I just decided, okay, well, I don't want to ruin another passion of mine, so why don't I just learn about something that's going to bring in money? So why don't I learn about money? And ultimately, it restored my passion in movies while giving me a new passion, learn the money system and how it works and all of that. And it allowed me to be a little bit more nimble the next time something happened. So while I'm on the production side or executive side of things, the technology for that isn't changing all that much, although you have to stay up with the trends so that you as a company don't fall behind. Whereas an artist, I've seen a lot of change for that group of people where if they didn't stay up with the latest trends, the latest tech, then they were left behind. And this happened not just in the tech, but in how the industry moved and shifted, where you're rotoscoping, little individual hairs on an actor. That stuff was moved offshore. So you either lost it that way, or then the technology comes along, where it eliminates a whole bunch of jobs. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of the whole AI thing and the AI scare. And you're seeing that in the union battles with the actors and the writers, where they're concerned for their jobs and they're using union force to try to make sure that they protect themselves. So regardless of what you think about that, I think it's incredibly important to try to look ahead and see where this is going and make sure that you're staying ahead of the game. And whether that's staying ahead of the game with technology, this stuff's changing so fast, it's almost impossible these days to stay up to speed. But what you can do is learn about money. And the reason I think that's so important is because if tech comes along, eliminates your job, you have a foundation that you can fall back on while you learn a new skill set, staying in the same realm, but whatever the new skill set, because new technology always kills jobs, but brings on, 1,000 more. And so that's why I say, if you learn about money, at least, because things change so fast, at least it can protect you to bridge that gap to that next technology change that you can figure out how to be successful then. Now, if you have enough time to build up a system where it replaces all of your expenses, well, then you don't even have to worry about staying up with the trend. The ultimate goal is to bring in enough residual income from assets that do that it eliminates your expenses. And then, of course, you want to tack onto that so that you can have, fun vacations and whatnot still. So that's my big aha moment. I hope that sparks interest in people learning about money, and why I've created this company is to make learning about money more fun. And while I myself am not financially free yet, I've been working on it. And I have done a whole bunch of things to allow that bridge moment. I just went through June, was at a startup company that all their funding was pulled. And a lot of people, of course, are like, how am I going to get through this? Because, of course, unemployment is like, here's some pennies and it doesn't even cover half the rent. So, while that's a nice little crutch, it's not that helpful. So that's why having rental property that's still bringing in income, or what I call the Moneyball system, that set up a bunch of investments that bring in income to get you by to the next stage. And of course, this business, I'm hoping to build it as well. So there's all these things that I've created a 3-act structure where there's all these things that I do to make sure that I can weather any storm. And I have created that as a community so that when people come in, they can see what I've done, and then they can expand on that. And then they can share that with their fellow community members. And that's why I love the community idea so much, because I can show you what I did, and maybe some of it speaks to you and some of it doesn't. But whatever doesn't, and somebody goes off and says, well, I like what you did here, but what if you did this? And they come up with a new idea, then they can share that with the group, and then that speaks to others that have the same situation. And so I highly encourage anybody that's interested to go to my website just to learn a little bit more about me at money-act.com. And there you can take a character quiz, or you can even find out, if you take a free course, you can click on subscribe and you'll get a free course to learn about the Moneyball system that I just described, that's helped me bridge me right now. And that'll bridge me for years. Like, I can go for years without a job, which we'll see what I decide to do. I haven't decided yet. I'm hoping that these type of videos resonate with people. And if they do, I really enjoy making a difference in people's lives. Money is a tool, and that tool gives you options. And giving people options rather than feeling stuck and suffocating in whatever situation they are, to me, that's extremely rewarding. And so that's why I'm trying a bunch of these different videos out to see what resonates with people, because my hope is that it does speak to you. And of course, joining my community. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you watching, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Take care.